Prince Harry and Meghan Markle say that they are distressed, the poor poppets, by the, what they brand, attack in Vanity Fair magazine.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle now say they are distressed, claiming they've been unfairly targeted. But history suggests that public perception eventually catches up to carefully managed images. When even the media outlets that once shaped your story begin to dismantle it, the unraveling becomes impossible to ignore.
Vanity Fair has turned on them.
Once positioned as Hollywood's royal redemption story, Harry and Meghan are now framed as the punchline of their own fairy tale. A publication that once praised them as a modern power couple has reversed course, signaling a dramatic shift in how elite media views the Sussex brand.
Utter delusion. And they're also just shocking hypocrites.
Public sympathy appears to be wearing thin. Harry, once celebrated as a rebellious prince with charm, is now portrayed as orbiting a carefully controlled narrative, while Meghan's humanitarian image is increasingly contrasted with reports of internal conflict and dissatisfaction behind the scenes.
She's bullied almost all of her staff out of the job. What a horrid nightmare she was to work with.
What once looked like a royal partnership now resembles a tightly managed PR operation. Each appearance feels less about transparency and more about relevance, and when a publication as influential as Vanity Fair turns critical, it marks a decisive moment in the life cycle of a public image.
They moved from England to get away from the scrutiny of the press, supposedly, and all they do is try to get in the press in the United States.
What began as quiet industry whispers has grown into widespread skepticism. The question now dominating headlines is whether Harry and Meghan were ever victims of circumstance, or whether they played a central role in shaping the chaos surrounding them. The latest coverage doesn't merely critique, it challenges the foundation of the couple's narrative. The image of compassion and moral clarity is replaced by accounts describing entitlement, control, and a relentless focus on perception.
Quoting someone as saying they are the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet.
According to emerging accounts, departures behind the scenes were not simple career moves, but attempts to escape intense professional environments. What once looked like courage is reframed as calculation, with vulnerability carefully positioned for maximum impact. The narrative suggests a partnership deeply invested in optics, where emotional storytelling became currency. Harry, once independent, is increasingly depicted as echoing a shared grievance, reinforcing a cycle that feeds public fatigue.
She's a diva, which some of us have known and have been talking about, and how people can't handle working for her.
This is no longer framed as royal drama. It's presented as an identity crisis, one unfolding in real time as public patience erodes. Audiences, long treated as sympathetic witnesses, are disengaging. The repetition feels rehearsed, the emotion scheduled, and the message increasingly hollow. What once inspired empathy now triggers skepticism. This backlash is portrayed not as boredom, but rebellion. Viewers resent being lectured on compassion by figures they perceive as monetizing grievance, turning personal pain into serialized content. Ironically, the same media ecosystem that elevated Harry and Meghan now amplifies their decline. Once public perception shifts from victimhood to manipulation, narrative control slips away.
No one cared about their podcast series. Nobody cared about the Polo series recently. Nobody cared about any of it. All they want to hear is the dirt. And these two, for 5 years, have reveled and wallowed in royal dirt for vast amounts of money.
For years, Vanity Fair reflected the image Meghan wanted the world to see. But this time, the tone is clinical, almost forensic. Less celebration, more post-mortem. Language once reserved for admiration now signals exhaustion. The mythology surrounding her brand is methodically dismantled, written as though its peak has already passed. Harry is not spared. His judgment, autonomy, and role in sustaining the narrative are openly questioned, reframing him as a shadow to the brand rather than its author. Behind the scenes, efforts to reframe and clarify appear ineffective. When a cultural gatekeeper withdraws approval, recovery becomes unlikely. Long before headlines shifted, warning signs were already present. Accounts describe emotionally taxing environments where loyalty was demanded and dissent punished. What is emphasized is not a single incident, but a pattern, one that left lasting damage on those tasked with protecting the couple's image.
These two will sell anything about their privacy, and yet they'll fight privacy battle after privacy
privacy battle. It's total
I don't agree.
Harry is portrayed as increasingly isolated, having chosen allegiance over reconciliation. In doing so, he is depicted as burning bridges that once defined his identity. Once adored as a rebellious royal with purpose, Harry now appears trapped within a brand he helped create but no longer controls, performing a version of himself that no longer resonates. The contradiction is central, a public fight for privacy paired with relentless exposure. Each new project dilutes credibility further. As criticism intensifies, media figures dissect the contrast between stated values and reported behavior, accelerating the collapse of the Sussex narrative.
Never complain and never explain was the late Queen's motto for royal PR. For Harry and Meghan, it's more a case of never reign and never abstain, especially when it comes to nauseating self-publicity, which invariably backfires.
What emerges is collective fatigue. The audience that once defended the couple now disengages, signaling a decisive shift in cultural sentiment. Support has turned to disbelief. The emotional investment of viewers has curdled into resentment, with authenticity replaced by perceived performance. Polarization sustains attention, but it also erodes trust. Once the public decides a narrative is manufactured, recovery becomes nearly impossible. In Hollywood, favor fades quietly, invitations slow, partnerships dissolve, and silence replaces applause. Fame without goodwill becomes isolating.
And going on to say the prince and the starlet, according to Vanity Fair, have become local villains in Montecito.
The irony is stark. The empire they sought depends on consistency, not perpetual grievance. In an industry built on reinvention, they remain trapped in confession. What began as a promise of change concludes as spectacle. The rebellion that once felt principled now resembles serialized drama, consumed more for entertainment than belief. And just as the story appears to settle, another chapter is teased. With new material surfacing and old narratives resurfacing, the saga continues, suggesting this storm is far from over.